Space Force. What's up, guys? Welcome back. I didn't want to go 3 days without uploading a video on this channel, but I kind of had to, because shit is just crazy right now. First of all, the smoke is just not leaving the Pacific Northwest, and it is nasty. You can taste it. You can definitely feel that it's affecting you. Like, I'm yawning all day. I can tell my body's not getting enough oxygen, and I'm trying to make my brain work properly during all this stuff. It's bad. If you've ever seen the movie The Mist, it's like that, perpetually. You can't see 500 yards in front of you. You got the smoke mixing with this foggy marine layer, so it's just dense air. You can't see, it just dissipates into this white fog. And yeah, it's bad. They're saying it's supposed to clear later this week. I'm hoping, because I just want to go for a run. I just want to get out and exercise and do something, not cooped up in here with my HEPA air filter. That's ridiculous. And another thing that's been crazy is the shills. My God, they've been activated more over the last 48 hours than I have ever seen them, at least at me, because I think I'm posting some things on Twitter and Facebook that there's some narratives out there they have to protect, so they're attacking me and projecting a bunch at me right now. I'll tell you guys more about that in some upcoming videos, but it's nuts, man. It's nuts, and there's so many lies and just ridiculous things they say. Truly, you can't believe most of the stuff you read on the internet. You gotta, of course, fact check for yourself. So anyway, as for this video, let's just get right into it. We're gonna go through a lot of headlines, catch up of what I missed over the last few days. We'll go through a lot of awesome, incredible things that President Trump has been saying that the mainstream media hates him for, but I mean, he deserves recognition for saying the truth, so we're gonna do that here. Then we'll also take a look at a few other news stories too, some having to do with UFOs, some having to do with the Bill Gates family, and some having to do with a few other things. So sit back, enjoy the show, and let's roll that intro. Okay, this one's gonna be a good one. But before we begin, I do wanna let you know about ways you can support me and the work I do. First way is through my new video website called jordansather.tv. I've got free videos up there right now if you wanna go watch, but if you'd like to support me, you can subscribe there for $5 a month. You'll get access to all the YouTube videos I do, but over there they'll be ad-free. And also, you can subscribe through Roku. Search Destroying the Illusion on Roku. You can sign up and watch everything right there on your TV, so that's pretty neat. Second way is through signing up on either Patreon or Subscribestar. I just made a Subscribestar account. Check those. And then lastly is through my supplement brand called Conscious Strength. I've been slowly growing that over the last couple of years. Some new additions on there. I just got the hemp oil back in stock and then added a chaga extract, actually, a chaga medicinal mushroom. So you can find all that at consciousstrength.net, or links for everything I just discussed will be right there in the description below. Now getting into the news of the week, all the stuff that we have to talk about, crazy happenings. Quite honestly, I don't even know where to begin. I guess I'll start off with all this climate change propaganda they're trying to shove down our throats right now. And beginning there with comments Donald Trump made at an event in California on Monday, where quite literally he said, and this just pissed off the fake news media and all the political hacks out there. He literally said that the Earth's climate is going to get cooler. He says, it'll get cooler, you just watch, in response to a question. And he also said that I don't think science knows. I don't think science knows, actually. How truly glorious is that? Because he's right, you know. He's completely right. In fact, when you look at the true science out there, not the shit that they cherry pick to get the desired result and then push agendas with, but I'm talking about true science with complete data sets. When you look at that, yes, the future of our Earth is actually looking to be much cooler than it is now. So much for global warming that we've been sold. I would highly recommend a YouTube channel by Ben Davidson called Suspicious Observers. He does some real good science behind all of this climate change stuff. He takes into account the solar forcing effects, the sun, the cosmic energy out there, everything, and he really does good work in explaining astrophysics and climate change and space weather and all that good stuff that, of course, the scientific establishment out there doesn't tell us. If you think your news is fake, try all the science they've been peddling us for the last 100 years, not just with climate change, but with medicine, with agriculture, with what? History, with what? Physics. Just basic physics. Really, it's all wrong. Like, it's all really, most of it, wrong. So anyway, and the reason why they're peddling this climate change stuff down our throats right now is to purely distract from the Antifa arson fires, as I'm calling them, that are all up and down the West Coast right now. That was a huge topic of conversation over the weekend, and quickly on Monday, they all got their secure drops at 4 a.m., I guess, and rolled out their narratives. Climate change, climate change, climate change, trying to shift the discussion, trying to brush all of the arson talk right there under the rug. So that is exactly the way. Also, they're trying to politicize this climate change narrative. So they're calling Donald Trump a climate change denier. Anybody that questions it is a climate change denier or a science denier. Yeah, you see how science has become a cult? Ha! They call QAnon people a cult, but no. That's everything coming from you scientists, you white lab coat establishment hacks that are out there. Most science these days is not science at all. It's propaganda, purely. And also on the subject of climate change, we have a few more things there. How about the Scientific American, I don't know, is it a magazine? It's a newspaper, whatever. Scientific American. I'm sure you've heard of it. They literally endorsed a presidential candidate yesterday for the first time in their 175-year history. And guess who they endorsed? Ha! Big surprise. Joe Biden. Holy crap. Scientific American. I just can't. These are supposed to be high IQ smart people, supposedly. But nevertheless, they tweeted the 2020 election is literally a matter of life and death. We urge you to vote for health and science by voting for Joe Biden. Health for Joe Biden. Dude has like what stage of dementia by now? They're putting him on meds just to keep him straight. And he's still not straight. He can't even not gaffe during his interviews these days, even if he has a teleprompter for him. Yet the Scientific American actually used the health angle in promoting Joe Biden. I just can't. I can't with that. And also the science angle. What does Joe Biden know about science? Like, you could probably pick a third grader out and they'd know more science than Joe Biden does right now. I mean, really, they endorsed the lowest IQ, most crazy, most like brain dead presidential candidate that we've probably ever had in this country. Scientific American. Yeah, all assets activated means so many more things than just one. That's nuts. Next, we're not done on climate change. How's about Facebook saying that they're cracking down on climate change misinformation? Ooh, the boogeyman. Climate change misinformation. There's our information overlords at it again. I've even seen a little notice pop up when you first log into Facebook these days, and they'll tell you to click on this thing here for the true information on climate change. Scary stuff, isn't it? Scary stuff. Speaking of censorship, I had another video removed by YouTube. This is one I uploaded a few months ago called Pro-Maskers Are the New Pro-Vaxxers. You might remember that video. I was just ranting about how much these masks suck and aren't good for our health. And of course, YouTube's reason for taking it down was that I supposedly went against World Health Organization guidelines. So really scary stuff if they start doing that for climate change now, right? They get some official, authoritative, or fact-checking body that they set up that's purely biased, and then they start removing content because of what that biased organization says. This is exactly what they do. And they've obviously been doing it with health information going against COVID, now apparently climate change information. What's next? How slippery is this slope gonna get? Anyway, moving on here. Let's talk about what Trump tweeted in terms of Biden. Like he said lately, especially at his rallies, the gloves are off now. They're lying about Trump so much all across the mainstream media, even in these Joe Biden advertisements that they're putting out against Trump, using fake news, using like that Atlantic piece where Trump supposedly called the military losers and suckers. No, purely lies. But they're still banking on these lies to attack Trump. So Trump says, screw y'all. I'm just going to go gloves off and start retweeting some hardcore things. And he did. He retweeted this tweet of a video of Biden rubbing a woman's shoulders, which there's what, thousands of videos out there by now. What, they're even on C-SPAN. Like, how can people not question Joe Biden being some sort of weird, creepy child abuser? It's out there in the public. But anyway, Trump retweets a post showing Biden giving some rubbies. And then in that tweet was also the hashtag pedo Biden. Ooh, yeah, he went there. Pedo Biden. Mainstream media got quickly activated to put the damper on this one and check out their articles. They actually not only use this kind of narrative to attack Trump going after pedo Biden here, but they also used this when they were trying to brush a lot of the Netflix controversy under the rug. Like, oh, you're speaking out about how weird this Cuties movie is, right? Or, oh, you're speaking out about pedo Biden, right? Well, they're going to say you are pushing a QAnon conspiracy theory. Yeah, I kid you not. When anybody speaks up about anything having to do with child sex trafficking or pedophilia, even if it has absolutely nothing to do with QAnon, the person didn't mention QAnon, maybe even what they're talking about was never even featured in QAnon's drops. Huh, doesn't matter. That's a crazy QAnon conspiracy now. Anything literally having to do with child sex abuse is now being labeled as a QAnon conspiracy theory by the mainstream media. More sick shit. More sick, scary shit. Their censorship, their covering up of everything is just terrible, sick, disgusting, awful. They are literally enabling pedophilia with these moves. You see, enabling it, covering it up, brushing it under the rug. We don't even need to cancel just Netflix. We need to cancel all the mainstream media. We need to cancel all these folks. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to now Trump's peace treaties. The peace treaties between Israel and the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, which is just incredibly massive news that, of course, the mainstream media really isn't touching. And the only way they are touching it is, of course, making up some excuse as to why it's bad. We'll get there in a sec. But these are really historic peace treaties. This is between Israel and a lot of Middle Eastern countries, which we could talk, a lot about what's really going on in the Middle East and Israel, but we'll save those conversations for later. This, for the optics of it, for the mainstream public, not just here in America, but the world, we're talking worldwide, is incredible. Donald Trump is looking like he deserves those Nobel Peace Prizes, right? In fact, with moves like this, he's looking like he deserves to have that Peace Prize named after him. Doing this. And they even said that not just the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain, but also Saudi Arabia potentially soon might join in on these peace deals. But couldn't be better timing with all this. And in fact, in my opinion, it was probably planned this way. Let's do this under 2 months before the election. Boom, peace treaty, peace treaty, peace treaty. Trump looks good, again, to worldwide audiences that he wants peace. This is absolutely huge. And then, like I said, we're seeing the mainstream media take whatever angle they can just to attack it. Like, pathetic. CNN shames the event they held yesterday, signing these, I think they're calling it the Abraham Accords, because it's bringing together the Abraham religions there of Islam and Christianity and whatnot. But CNN is shaming what happened there at the signing of the Abraham Accords because of the, quote, large crowd. That's it. Large crowd, no social distancing, and people didn't have their masks on, their maskuses. Holy crap. Let's move on now into just a quick hit piece. Only one. There's like a million I could talk about that have come out over the last few days, but there's just one I want to touch on, and that is CNN's. Because CNN just sucks so bad, don't they? And they actually had the writer of a recent article by an organization on their program. He's a supposed genocide scholar. I guess he's really good at learning about genocide, whatever genocide scholar exactly means. And they had him on their program to claim that QAnon is a Nazi cult. Well, the guy they had on their program on CNN's show is the author of this article that came out about a week ago. His name's Gregory Stanton. And this article, QAnon is a Nazi cult rebranded, it was on the website called justsecurity.org. justsecurity.org. So This is a big article that's getting linked all over the place over the last week in this narrative that QAnon is this Nazi cult. And justsecurity.org, okay, let's dig into them a little bit. You can go up here and check out their advisory board and their guest authors. Let's do both of those things. Guest authors, advisory board. Wow, well, when looking at this advisory board, look what's first. Oh, a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Great. So the co-chair is a CFR member. We got, boom, oh, another member on the CFR right there. So both of the chairs of this organization are on the Council of Foreign Relations. We got a lot of other questionable connections as you go through these. A lot of Obama and Clinton connects here too. That's just the advisory board. Let's take a look at their alumni and guest authors. This one's good. This one's actually some, we'll bring up some familiar names that you might recognize. And we could go through here. A lot of them I don't know, but some of them I definitely do. How about, Sidney Blumenthal there, former senior advisor to Hillary Clinton. We got some ambassadors. We got Gordon Brown, great former prime minister of the UK. He was a stand-up guy, wasn't he? I know Dianne Feinstein's name is on this list. Andrew Weissman's name, he was a part of that Mueller investigation, right? So, truly, this whole organization is a bunch of Obama and Clinton cronies who just are a bunch of bitter political hacks. CFR members, Council on Foreign Relations. So yeah, that's why they have been tasked to brand QAnon as a Nazi cult. And this is being used as the main focal point that a lot of other mainstream media articles are being written off of. And this is their supposed source for their claims of Q being a Nazi cult. Clockwork, plain as day. When you pick apart all the connections and map it out, web it out, it becomes, you can just connect the dots. CNN has on this guy. This guy wrote this article for Just Security. Just Security is a total shill organization full of a bunch of stupid people on it. So anyway, moving on to more stupid people. And yes, the mainstream media. Alexander Vindman. Vindman. This guy just doesn't give up, really. And he went to The Atlantic on Monday. Did an interview with them. Lo and behold, he did an interview with the same journalist, Jeffrey Goldberg, that put out that Atlantic shit show a couple weeks ago. The one with supposedly Trump calling the military losers and suckers that he never did. Total lies. Same journalist, same guy authoring this article. Now with our Ukraine impeachment witness, Alexander Vindman, calling Trump a useful idiot for Putin. Like, you cannot make this shit up. You cannot get a Hollywood movie that has the kind of stupidity in it that this does right now. You can't. So we got Vindman shilling himself out. Not just Vindman, Peter Strzok. Yup, he has been, really this guy's been whoring himself out across the mainstream media. He did an interview with Chuck Todd at NBC. He did an interview with more outlets too, not just this one, a handful of them. Whoring himself out, trying to, yes, pull the Russia card. Russia, Russia, Russia. Still, we're like 3 years later, 4 years after that sham investigation, right? I mean, it is absurd. Who are the real conspiracy theorists here? These guys. Really, when you look at Peter Strzok, that's like pure sociopathy. That guy looks absolutely insane. And it's even funnier when you mute his interviews and just watch him speak. He looks even more insane that way. I wouldn't be surprised if he's murdered someone in his life. Moving on now, big news of yesterday. And let me just preface this news by saying I don't do any virtue signaling around here, okay? So, sorry, don't get upset at what I say. When people die and they're really, really, really evil, bad people who have done bad things on this planet, no, you're not going to get like a condolences or a bummer from me. No way. I'm going to tell the truth about who those people were, man. Bill Gates Sr. died. Bill Gates Sr., he's the father, of course, of Bill Gates Jr., and quite honestly, like, I don't even feel bad about it. And in fact, How many great one-liners can we pull out of this one? Let's begin. Wrong Gates. Can we get a 2-for-1 deal here? I mean, it could have been one of his son's vaccines. I mean, I'm just saying. Has his death been added to the COVID count yet? How's that depopulation working for the Gates family? Okay. I think we're all done with those. So moving on now from that, let's talk Bill Gates Jr. So he is doing something surprising, actually. And again, this is another piece of evidence that goes to show me, at least, that I think Trump is playing some 45D multi-dimensional chess strategy with his vaccine talk right now and how he's handling the FDA and the CDC. So check this out. Bill Gates is questioning the FDA's credibility on the COVID-19 vaccine. Really? Bill Gates is questioning the FDA's credibility? And not just that, but he was also questioning the credibility of the CDC. FDA and the CDC? Those are like the two organizations he needs to sell his vaccines to the public, and he's questioning their credibility? And the reason why he's questioning their credibility is because he's saying the person that Trump appointed to the White House task force and leading this whole Operation Warp Speed thing and whatnot, he doesn't trust them. And he also says he lost faith in the FDA after their approval of the blood plasma therapy. Weird. And yeah, he's, like I said, he's even saying he has problems with the CDC. So what if Trump, promoting his vaccine so hard right now, trying to go so fast with it, is making these guys have to throw the FDA and the CDC under the bus and sort of throw their vaccines under the bus too, because Trump is so full bore with it. And still on the subject of COVID and Big Pharma, and then we'll finish up with some good old UFO stories that I have to talk to you about here. We'll do a little fact check with those two. So, huge news yesterday. Twitter, more censorship here. Twitter shut down the account of the Chinese professor who said she had evidence that China created the coronavirus in a Wuhan lab. This woman's name is Dr. Li Men Yan, and they totally suspended her account. They did, and they cut her account right before she made an appearance on Tucker Carlson's show. You know, in fact, I don't know if she was slated to be on Tucker's show before she got her account suspended, or if she got her account suspended and then she went on Tucker's show and agreed to do all that after. I don't know, but good show. She was on Tucker's, and she straight up said, I got evidence to show that it was manufactured. So that narrative is going downhill quick, isn't it? That narrative is getting destroyed. And that also goes to show you why they need to quickly shift the narrative right now. So they're bringing in the climate change conversation. And one other conversation they're bringing in, great way to segue it, is, of course, the aliens, UFOs, okay? There's 3 different stories I have to share with you on that. First off is this viral video that went around yesterday that had some people rush into judgment. Unfortunately, here in this situation, they rushed to judgment. They thought it was a UFO. Boom, it went viral. Turns out it wasn't a UFO at all. It was a blimp. Yep, it was a blimp. It was a blimp with LEDs on it. And a video I saw actually zoomed in pretty close. You could see it was clearly a Goodyear blimp with LEDs on it. And then in these other videos, I mean, you could see the blinking lights. Come on, man. Do your fact checking, everybody. It was a blimp. Maybe it was a blimp filled with swamp gas or something. Let's move on into this story that went around pretty good on Monday. And again, a way that I've been saying this for a long, long time, and I'm still sticking by it. It still looks like it's all planning out the way I thought, is that this alien talk and UFO talk is going to ramp up big time before the election because they're trying to propagandize it and weaponize it in a few different ways, actually. There's a few convenient ways it helps them. So first of all, if they put out cute little stories like this, like, oh, we found a gas or signatures of a gas in the Venus atmosphere that leads us to believe there might be microbes and life elsewhere in our solar system or the universe. That's a narrative shift. That's a conversation change. They're trying to get people to avoid talking about the conspiracy theories and the political stuff out there. Let's talk about something that's non-political, something that, microbes and shit, which here's a point. I'm so sick of like, how bored are we of microbes? That's so boring. That and these boring UFO videos that just get repeated ad nauseum in the mainstream media over the last 3 years. You know, those Tom DeLonge to the stars videos, the same black and white ones that were said to be taken from the Navy of these tic-tac UFOs. Another thing I'm sick of, calling UFOs tic-tacs. It all stems from the Tom DeLonge UFO narratives. They're going to try to shift the conversation away to get people talking about non-political things. Or, here's a big point, they're trying to dress up UFO disclosure to look non-political when really a lot of the people in the mainstream media pushing these Tom DeLonge UFO narratives are totally political. They're totally anti-Trumpers, many of them like secretly or subtly. Tom DeLonge's not even subtle about it. He's an open, just total anti-Trumper, pro-UN, he's just a dumbass, promoting all the lame propaganda that's out there. And same thing, a lot of the other people associated with Tom DeLonge or pushing those same narratives in the mainstream media right now, it's all a limited hangout. It's all there just to either distract us or set up their gatekeepers, set up their disclosure managers so they can manage the narrative, send people all to the Tom DeLonge information, and then, propagandize their brains with a lot of other dumb stuff. So that's me not saying that UFO disclosure isn't important. In fact, it's one of the big things I have my eye on, the full truth about UFOs and the hidden technologies and all that, cosmic life in our universe. One of the most important subjects out there. But the mainstream media right now is propagandizing that to, of course, engineer us socially and mentally. So that's important to note. And then last article I have for you guys here is a story about a new documentary that's coming out. It's a new documentary. It's called The Phenomenon. Yeah, The Phenomenon. And it's about UFOs. So this documentary is coming out in 3 weeks. And there's a big sort of mainstream media, Tom DeLonge fan base push behind this documentary because it goes right along with a lot of their narratives. This UFO documentary is not going to be that incredible in terms of the depths of the information it's going to present. It's probably going to look flashy as hell. In fact, it's probably going to be the most cinematic looking UFO documentary that's out there yet. But again, the narratives it's pushing, it's going to be like the same crap on repeat, like these same Tom DeLonge videos over and over again, the same people you've been seeing on CNN over and over again saying the same things. Literally, it will be. It's going to be. Some of the other names that are in this documentary. Get this. John Podesta is in it. John Podesta. Harry Reid is in it. Harry Reid. And get this. Former governor of New Mexico, Bill Richardson. One of Epstein's former friends there. Bill Richardson. I'm not trying to get lectured about UFOs and national security by a bunch of pedophiles, am I? Ha! That's my thoughts on that. The UFO community is weird. It's full of just grifters and people looking to capitalize for money or fame or attention or whatever the case. It's just bad. And we got to be careful these next couple of months. I would imagine a lot of the UFO talk is going to hit the mainstream a lot more and more and more. But what you're going to be sold is a lot of just half-truth stuff. Honestly, by a lot of people who probably don't even realize it's half-truth. They just, have never really researched the UFOs or the underground space subjects in their life. And they don't know these other things. They don't know they're being sold a bunch of limited hangout nonsense. So it's important for me to continue talking about it. I will continue doing videos on it, and you to share this information, of course, with your friends and family too. So thanks, guys. That's it for you. And hit subscribe, hit that little notification bell. I appreciate you, and I'll be back soon with another video when I can. Quite honestly, it was tough to do this video. This smoke's got me like, ugh. It's hard to breathe in here, so I'll get back on the grind when I can. Thanks, everybody. See you soon. Done.